Welcome to the Tier 1 stream with yours truly, The Darkness, for Tier 1 around Mexico. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Before I get into any of it, because we are jumping into qualifying quite quickly, and I didn't even realise this, we are affiliated with Rogue Energy. If you use code PHX at checkout, you can get 10% off of your order. Tasty drinks. I've been told a lot that Rogue Energy is quite tasty, so I do recommend getting some if you haven't already. And for today, for Tier 1, I am joined by the one and only Mr. DNF. How are you doing, Mr. DNF?
Oh, I forgot I'm in here. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're not joining me.
I'm racing.
Oh, you're racing.
I clicked the wrong button. I clicked the wrong
No,
call.
you're staying here for now.
Oh, sorry.
You're staying here for now.
Okay. Sure.
Just for
I'll stick
qualifying, you
here
can stay here.
Okay. Fine. If I get pole, all I'm saying is, it's because of this.
Well, you're reserving in. Are you looking forward to the race, Mr. Team Principal for Aston Martin?
Yes. Hopefully it goes better than what's it called? Tier 2 did. Yeah.
Is this redemption day? Will Nadim not DNF in the last race of season 4?
I'm hoping. We're hoping. We'll see how it goes.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
Oh god, my game's lagging trying to go into the settings.
Please don't watch me though. That's gonna give me additional pressure.
My game's gonna crash, don't worry. I'm not gonna be able to see.
Oh no. Oh no.
I will go for an onboard with you for your first lap out.
Come on, no, please.
But
don't.
before you get out, we have Pains out for the first driver on track for a hot lap now, warming up his tyres. Armin, your soon-to-be teammate, is also out reserving in for Haas. Who else do we have reserving in today? Mavericks finally showed up for his race, the final race of the season. Webby reserving in for Alfa Romeo, in place of, I believe, once was Mr. Sinister in this position. But now Webby is in there. And I think Beb is also a reserve driver for Mercedes. No pressure, Nadim. You gotta beat your time from Tier 2.
I think it works out fine actually, because I did beat USA. I did beat it.
Dare I say, beat Panos' time of a 1:15.7.
I think I can do that if I get a lap together.
I think you could do it too, as we follow on with Pains now. Not doing an onboard, because I don't know the gears or this track very well. We'll certainly be able to watch him as he goes around the track for the first hot lap of the session into the first corner. He takes a lot of the inside line, attacking the apex of the corners very well, doing exactly what I expected Tier 2 drivers to do. Mounting that curb and almost cutting that corner without losing grip of the car or invalidating the lap. Of course, he will set a purple first sector, as he is the first driver out on the track for this session. 15 minutes now, and only 3 drivers remain in the pits. Now into the S's. Pains has kept his car quite well within the lines of the track there. Not slipping a tyre outside. Oh, there we go. Oh. Pains is backed off. Oh, Pains is invalidated coming out through the S's. What an unfortunate moment for the Ferrari driver. Now going with Nadim, I've deafened him momentarily because obviously he's focusing on his track. I do not want to distract him at all now. Zolt's currently with the fastest time on the track, time to beat a 1:17.5, as Webby unfortunately is disconnected from the session. Nadim now fastest first sector going into the second sector. Fat Cat Batman with an improved time, a 1:17.3. Now Nadim coming into the stadium section, probably one of my favourite sections, as well as Maverick, as you may have heard, in Tier 2 going through and under the stadium. Dante with a 1:16.8, the first to drop into the 1:16s. And now Nadim to the line, crosses with a 1:18.2. Very slow lap, Nadeem. What happened there?
I made a few mistakes, yeah. You were watching me on board. That's why you muted. I was like, what
No,
happened?
I'd never do
Ah,
that. Welcome, Wolf. Let's have a look. We've got ourselves Gravy, Alfa Romeo driver, currently signed for another season with the same team. Now going through into the second sector very soon.
oh my god, pains. Oh,
Payne's with an incredible lap, a 1:15.7, matching the time of Panos in Season 2. Season 2? Tier 2.
season 2, what?
Yeah, Season 2. Going back in time.
I can't live.
Having more disconnect troubles, unfortunately. Gravy with a purple middle sector now going through the stadium section. Under the rest of the stadium now to the line, taking the shortest route possible. A 1:16.5, putting him up on the front row with Pains. An incredible lap by the Alfa Romeo driver, just 6/100ths quicker than the what's it called? Williams just behind him, as Rikko puts in a 1:16.2, taking second place from Gravy. Oh no, Fat Cat's taking off the gloves now. I'm afraid.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Fat Cat's going to put on the super softs. He's going to find a tyre set that doesn't even exist in this game, and he is going to smash it out of the park. On the team invalidated, what happened?
On that question. We'll go for another one.
Go for another one. How much fuel have you got on there?
I got a lot.
Okay, those tyres are going to be worn as hell.
No, they're like 8%.
Oh. Okay, not bad.
Okay. Not bad. To
Not
me,
bad.
I'm beat 10.
Webby now into the pits. I think Webby might have gotten the invalidate this and next lap, which is why he's probably dove into the pits there. Senor Beb in their I don't know what I'm talking about this, in the Mercedes, going for an out lap. Now going into the stadium section. What can we see the Mercedes driver do? Revving that engine now to the line. Beb now starting his hot lap for the session. What can he do? We will see. There we go. Marco is now joined. Into the first couple of corners. Doesn't look as though he's attacking the curbs as much as a few other drivers have. Going slightly wide there, but managing to stay within track limits. Attacking the curbs now. Keeping his car very well under control now. And into the quick right-hander right into the approach of the S's. Finishing sector 1. And now he's got, what is that, an Aston Martin driver ahead of him? I think that might be Nadeem getting out the way. As he invalidates through the S's, Beb now losing that time. Very unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. And now let's go on board with the one and only Mr. Nadeem.
I got no fuel. No fuel.
Oh. Well,
yeah.
Brilliant on board with Mr. Nadeem.
Well,
let's have a look to his teammate, though. Currently sitting in 6th place with a 1:17.3. Recently saying that he will take his gloves off. So let's see what Fat Cat Batman can do in this lap. He's currently 6th place. He needs to improve by nearly 2 seconds. to try and take pole. As now Dante puts in a 1:16.8. Oh, sorry, Zolt, I think, put in a 1:16.6. Honestly, I so many numbers I can't read. Fat Cat very brave with his car. He's leaving it in 4th gear through that first few sections. Now finishing the first sector. It did not want to tell me the sector times. Thank you, EA. Fushy Wishy. Yeah, Rikko is already champion. He got crowned champion, I think it was last race. By a clear victory of, I think, 30 points, 30-something points from Shanae. Unfortunately, Shanae, he did the 24-hour race. Was quite exhausted from that, which is why he didn't partake. Fat Cat Batman now demoted down into 8th place. He's now 7/10ths up on his middle sector. This is an incredible lap for the Aston Martin driver so far. Now going through the stadium section, he's going to round the final corner. And he's got to keep his car now as tidy as possible to the line. He's going for a wide line, and he goes for a 1:16.1, a 1.2 second improvement. Just 4/10ths off of Paynes. That was incredible by Fat Cat. As now Fudge and Maverick put in the time for the McLarens in 1:17.0 and a 1:17.8. What an incredible lap by Fat Cat there. Even beating Rikko, the champion of this season. Now let's have a see here. We've got ourselves a nice sandwich of drivers. We've got Gravy. We've got 6 drivers now coming towards the line. I believe Maverick's coming into the pits. Just behind him, we have the Haas of Rikko also into the pits. Who's next across the line? Gravy going for a hot lap now, and just behind him, Mercedes driver Senor Beb across the line, starting a hot lap. Just behind him in the stadium section, Marco now reserving in for Mercedes, coming across the line to start his hot lap. As also now to cross the line is Mr. Nadim to start his hot lap.
Oh no.
I'm gonna deafen. Don't worry, I'm not.
No, God.
I don't
please,
wanna distract you.
No, don't watch me at all.
I'm not. Gravy now into the first sector. Gravy has made an improvement on his lap so far. He does have the Mercedes though right hot on his tail. Fortunately though, that Mercedes is not close enough to receive any advantage from the driver ahead of him. With 5 minutes remaining, we only have 6 drivers on the grid, on the track, sorry. And now Gravy 3/10ths up on his previous lap time, currently on track. At this rate, on this performance, he is going to improve to potentially the 2nd row, even better the 1st row. Now rounding the final corner, Gravy to the line. Yellow flags for the Mercedes at the back, but Gravy to the line with an improvement. Oh my god, Beb with an incredible 3 drivers all within just 2 100ths of each other. Gravy with a 1:16.1 and just 2 1,000ths slower than him. Beb in 3rd place and just 11,000ths of a second slower than Beb. It's Fat Cat Batman. Those gloves came off for Fat Cat, but Gravy and Beb with an incredible lap. And unfortunately, Nadim again invalidated, mate. What happened?
Oh, question. I'll go for another one.
Nadim now for another hot lap. Only 4 minutes remaining. He's pumped that car with a lot of fuel. He is going to go lap after lap till he gets a consistent good lap. Hopefully we can see the team principal put up his car potentially up into the top 10. It would be great to see him on the 2nd row displacing his teammate from the 2nd row, potentially qualifying just near him. Now into the 2nd sector, Mr. DNF Junior Legacy. I ruined his name. I'm brilliant. into the S's now. We've seen a few drivers in Tier 2 spin out here, but so far in Tier 1, I have to say, touch wood, no one does it still, but through the S's he goes, and no one has still yet to spin out through the S's. Now Beb retires with an outstanding lap there. I completely understand why he would retire there. Now into the stadium section, Nadim goes. He's managed to keep it very well within track limits now, keeping it close to the edge of the track, to the line. Nadim puts it in 9th, a 1:16.6, an incredible improvement by Mr. DNF. Well done. Into the top 10.
Pina.
4/1000ths faster than Zoltz, as Webby unfortunately has been disconnected from the session again. EA, fix your games. Let's have a look now. We've got ourselves Maverick going through the second sector. Now with his teammate just behind. Are we going to potentially see the team orders? Perhaps a tow between the two of them? Maverick now going through the S's. Oh, you can see those beautiful sparks at the back of the car. The quick left, then right, then left, then right, all the way through to the next straight. DRS wide open now, and into the third sector for the stadium section. So currently 3/10 up on his previous time. Attacking the corners very well. Webby now rejoining out to the stadium section and under the advertising bridge to the line. Maverick with a 1:17.0 improves and manages to take position from his teammate, as now Nadim has left the session, unfortunately.
Oh.
No?
Oh, what the hell? Kick me? What?
Yes. You're too good for the game. It doesn't like you.
Brilliant.
Top 11 as Fat Cat puts in an incredible lap. A 1:15.557. Fat Cat taking pole by 2/10. What an incredible lap by the Aston Martin driver.
Wow. Wow.
That is over the moon as Nadim leaves the session again. Payne's out for an outlap. Gravy as well. Hopefully they can improve. Now as we come down to the final closing stages of qualifying, if you are in the pits now, you are not going to be able to get out of the pits and across the line in time for another lap. So Nadim and Webby are set in stone for that position, assuming no one knocks him down. Rikko as well, out on an outlap. He will make it to the line in time. Brizen as well. Dante going to the line now. Oh, no, Dante, I think, potentially going into the pits now. Webby is out for an outlap. He's got 1 minute to get to the line. I don't think Webby will be able to make it, if I'm honest. We'll have to see now, as he is glitching around sideways a little bit. Unfortunately, you know, the game being terrible as it is. Fat Cat into the pits now. Payne's through the stadium section. Almost every driver is out. Let's have a look at the back. We've got Armin so far on a very good lap. Going through the first sector now. Very clean through there. Marco, reserve driver for Mercedes, unfortunately already invalidated his laps. Nadim now disconnected from the session once more. Fudge currently on a lap. We'll have to see now as he closes the first sector. He's currently on improvement, about 6/100ths, closes the first sector. Maverick leaving his position there. Kudos now making it to the line for a final hot lap of the session. Where can we see the Ferrari driver make it? This will be his last race with Ferrari and his last race with Phoenix. Very unfortunate to see Kudos leave. It does bring a tear to my face to see Kudos leave after this race, but he has been a brilliant driver for Ferrari, and as a team principal, I could not be more proud than I couldn't be prouder. Payne's currently going through the second sector. According to the game, he's on an improvement lap. We'll have to see now as he comes to the closing session. Zolt's retiring from the session. Crosses the line with a purple middle sector. Currently 1.5 tenths quicker than his previous time. Rikko across the line with a 1:15.5. Payne's now down to the second row of the grid with his sister team Gravy now to the line. Payne's Can he get up there? He does. He manages to put in a 1:15.588 exactly. 1/100th of a second quicker than Rikko and takes second place. Brizen with a brilliant lap, a 1:16.0, takes fourth place from Gravy. Now Gravy starting in the third row of the race. Brizen just taking it from Gravy by 1/10. Next across the line will be Webby. Webby unfortunately not making it for the end of his outlap, I believe. And now Webby qualifying 9th. Let's have a look at the final standings. Thank you, there we go. Fat Cat Batman with an incredible lap. But to note, half a second splitting the top 4, with Brizen right on the cusp of that half a second, and 1 second splitting the top 7 with Dante to finish out. Kudos in 8th, Webby in 9th, Nadim in 10th to finish out the top 10. That is an incredible qualifying session by all drivers, and Fat Cat Batman with an incredible lap takes pole. I am speechless by that lap. Honestly, when he said take the gloves off, I didn't think he would go this far. But Pains and Rikko and Brizen, all with an incredible lap, managed to come back. Unfortunately, Gravy, I think, invalidated his lap towards the end there. And couldn't quite improve and get out higher than 5th place. Beb reserving in for the Mercedes in 6th place. I'm repeating myself, but I'm just completely stunned by the laps that people put in. That was insane. Hello, Formula 1. Welcome back to Tier 1. I'm speechless. That was incredible. We had only one driver in Tier 2 get into the 1:15s, and that was Panos. Panos improved his time from a 1:16.0 to a 1:15.7, and now 4 drivers, or was it 3 drivers? 3 drivers not only got into the 1:15s, but were improving even after getting in there. That was incredible. Alright, this is very eerily quiet whilst we wait for the T-posing engineers to get us into the race. Now to just go over the weather once more, we had the same weather in Tier 2, but you have to remember there is dynamic involved in approximate weather. So at the start of the race, it will be overcast. You will see patches of clouds in the sky. And then for the second section of the track, we will have a dynamic weather change. So the weather could go sunny, the weather could go more cloudy, it could go absolute mad and have a tornado. No, it wouldn't. But then for the final part of the track, we will have enough rain for Inter's conditions, which therefore means with dynamic in the middle slot and the weather accuracy set to approximate, our drivers could either have the rain come in lap 3 or the rain come in lap 35, 1 lap before the end. Either way, the rain will come in. If we have a quick look at the tyres, that is something I did not expect to see at all. We have Armin, Webby, Gravy and Pains, only drivers to be on the medium compound tyres whilst the rest are on the hard compound tyres. And I can only imagine those hard compound runners will be looking to go somehow, miraculously, to the end of the race when the rain comes in. I can only assume that because the rain is so late that drivers are going for the hard compound tyres. But as we have seen in Tier 2, whilst I may say the hards are a horrible tyre choice, a lot of people have complained about the hards on this track. I mean, clearly all of these drivers, all these very fast drivers in Tier 1 have opted for the hard compound tyres, thinking they have got this in the bag. And honestly, I'm terrible at driving. I trust them. If they got this, I trust they got this. Fushi saying that he can't go below 117 with medium traction control, and these guys are casually going below 116s without it. Yeah, Fushi, they're on a whole new level. Honestly, they're a different breed of humans, as the kids call it now. God, that just made me feel like 70 years old. What is wrong with me? Brilliant. Now, as we see Fat Cat Batman going round the final corner to end the formation lap. only 4 drivers on the mediums. As we saw from Lewis in Tier 2, I think he qualified in 5th. Managed to get an incredible start on the mediums and found himself all the way up into the lead of the race at the end of the first corner, as we have a couple donuts at the back. Webby! My man Webby. I saw those donuts. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see the donuts. Let's get ourselves the lap data up on the screen so we can see what goes on. This Webby unfortunately disqualifies, but those mediums fortunately will be very quick to warm up and shouldn't be much of a problem to have those reset. Unfortunately, this game, if you're disqualified from the formation lap, your tyres will be reset to the coldest state possible in this game, and that is about 60 degrees. Now with 4, 5 red lights, and away we go. Please, can we just go? Thank you very much, and away we go. Paynes, a very slow start for Paynes there, unfortunately, with the mediums. Rikko with a brilliant start. Those hard combat tyres clearly fired. Oh my god, these are terrible camera angles. Can I please see what's going on? I can't. There we go. Going 4 wide into the first corner. Paynes on the inside, but Fat Cat Batman with the inside line now into the second corner. But Paynes maintains the lead of the race, as there is a spin at the back of the track. Unfortunately, Beb has lost it, and Marco is gone wide at the back there. Rikko now fighting. Fat Cat Batman now fighting Paynes, going down the inside, trying to make a move for first place into the second sector. Rikko up into third place. Hold on, position changes. Webby with a brilliant start now up to third place. Those mediums have worked beautifully for him. And Maverick started on the hard compound tyres, if I remember correctly. He has. And he's found himself up 5 positions along with Marco up into 10th place. Brilliant start for these few drivers so far, but crucially, Paynes with those medium tyres has found himself in the lead of this race and now is pushing. Those mediums are going to work beautifully. We'll have to see now which strategy is going to come out on top. It all depends on when does the rain come in. Tier 2, the rain came in for lap 10, and those medium drivers were in the perfect position to have had the pace and the durability to make it to lap 10, whereas the hard tyre runners, whilst Panos still won the race on the hard compound tyres, certainly didn't get to the optimum position in terms of that tyre wear. Now as Rikko goes for a move down the around the outside on Fat Cat Batman. Fat Cat Batman losing 2 positions now. Brizen in the fight along with Gravy. Fat Cat Batman down to 5th place. So far down. And still Webby fighting it around the outside. Going 3 wide. The Alpha and... That was Gravy. My bad, that was Gravy. Gravy going 2 wide with Fat Cat there. And Brizen just ahead of him. Now all fighting for the lead. And this is all crucially helping Paynes. Now 3 seconds clear of the fight behind him. Gravy now up into 4th place. And Fat Cat Batman down into 5th place. Slightly further back we got, unfortunately, as Dante's mentioned, his game crashed. Hopefully we can get you back into the lobby. And now Marco up into 9th place. Dante, hopefully we can get you back in as soon as possible. Now Paynes going through and finishing the second lap of this race. Now leading the race with 3 seconds clear of the drivers behind him. Now a 4-car battle as Maverick makes a move. Something's happening here. What's happened to Webby here? As Webby is now tumbling down the order, down into 13th place. Behind Dante. Maverick now finds himself up into 6th place. Now I can get a drink of water for all that shouting. Stay hydrated. Gravy closing in the gap on Brizen ahead of him. Brizen, if you watch back through this, please let me know if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Armin as well, going side by side almost with the Mercedes ahead of him, now approaching into the S's. Surely not, they do not go side by side, thankfully. As Nadim now also falling behind. I think Nadim hasn't reconnected, potentially. Hopefully we can get Nadim back into this game, back into the race. Armin still fighting all over the gearbox of Marco just ahead of him. almost pushing that Mercedes forwards. And now as we come down to the main straight, DRS is enabled. It was enabled 2 laps ago. And now there will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars on the track with DRS. Fudge is making a move around Zoltz for 10th place. Armin as well making a move around Marco. And Kudos on 3 wide. 4 cars battling for 1 position. Kudos coming out ahead. Armin as well now fighting around the outside. But Marco with the inside line managed to maintain the position. But they will all have DRS again. Kudos with DRS, and unfortunately Maverick has fallen victim to having no DRS in this entire battle. Kudos now up into 6th place, Marco into 7th, and Armin up into 8th place. Maverick unfortunately moving down to 9th place. And Fudge is now down into 11th. Still fairly split in the top 5 here. Rikko now 3.5 seconds behind Paynes. Brisen 1.5 seconds behind Rikko. But Gravy and Fat Cat still closing in on Brisen ahead of them. Both of them will have DRS out of the stadium section. If you look further back, you actually saw a battle there with Armin still. Armin still fighting with Marco, not quite getting his car ahead into the braking zone and taking the position. I believe this is Armin's 2nd, maybe 3rd race, reserving its Tier 1. Incredible drive for the Haas reserve driver now. Coming down the main straight, Kudos with no defense at all. We'll have 2 drivers barreling towards him with so much speed. DRS wide open, and now Kudos losing 2 positions to the Haas and the Mercedes, and now they fight into the first corner. Haas with the inside line, Kudos trying to take the inside line as well. And now, unfortunately, Kudos losing 2 positions, but this is not over yet. Now there'll be a 2nd DRS straight. Unfortunately, Kudos will still not have it, and now Maverick's all over the gearbox, but unfortunately for Maverick is not quite close enough to take the position. Guys, please stop fighting. I need to breathe. I need to breathe so much. As we go into the 2nd DRS straight, doesn't appear as though anyone is quite close enough to take advantage of the 2nd DRS straight and to make a move. They certainly will help close the gap now as we go with on board with Kudos into the stadium section. Now 0.6 seconds behind Marco and Armin, just ahead of him. 6 drivers will have it. I think Maverick might have crossed the line, pardon me, outside of the DRS window there, and will now cross the line without DRS. And across the line, he's got no DRS. Maverick is defenseless in this fight with a closing car of Zoltz, as now Armin, there it is, Armin has gotten round ahead of Marco now. DRS being incredibly effective. Both Armin and Marco up 8 places respectively from 15th and 14th. I can do maths. Slightly further ahead, Gravy is continuing to push. He's now up into 3rd place. He's now 0.4 seconds behind Gravy. Those medium tyres are working beautifully for the Alfa Romeo driver there. And hopefully we can see a change in order for the top 2. We'll have to see now. Gravy 0.6 behind. He has the tyre advantage at the moment. And just a few laps to go before those hards will be in the, I would assume, in the crossover section, where the hards will have the advantage over the mediums. We'll have to see now to go into the final corner. Gravy 0.7 behind. He will have DRS, but will he be quick enough with those tyres and with the ERS that he might have to catch up and take the position? Slightly further behind, we've got a fight between Kudos, Armin, and Marco still. Of course, they'll all have DRS. It'll be constant DRS fight between the 3 of them. As now Armin makes a move down the inside and makes it into the braking zone, up into 6th place now. Kudos right on the gearbox of the 2 drivers ahead of him. Of course, Armin will have the DRS here, so he'll be able to defend with relative ease, as now Brisen and Fat Cat are fighting. Brisen and Fat Cat, both on the same tyre compound, have now swapped position there. Unfortunately, Brisen not with a great exit there. It did seem to be very slow coming out that corner. Now through the S's, Gravy 0.4 behind Rikko. I almost don't want it to rain anytime soon because this is incredibly close battles as Maverick now falls victim. The first to fall victim to track limits and receive 3 seconds for time penalties. Now Beb also falls victims to it. Unfortunately, coming out of the S's, he has spun round. Dante back in the race will gain a position on Beb. And it will be in 12th place, only 7.5 seconds behind Fudge. What's going on here? Maverick also well into the stadium sections. Appears to have had a bit of a moment there. Unfortunately, losing out of position to his teammate. As now Gravy with the DRS down that main straight has managed to make that move. And Rikko not quite close enough to make a switchback. Gravy now into 2nd place and Payne 6 seconds ahead. There's now a fight again between Armin, Kudos and Marco. And the DRS, again, this is, like I said, this is going to go back and forth, lap after lap. But again, now Marco ahead of Armin, ahead of Kudos. And Zolt's very close in this fight. And if they keep going at this rate, it will be a 7-car fight. Oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-car fight for 6th place. Man, you guys need to stop fighting so often. I need to be able to breathe in these commentates. Commentates? Yeah, you're sticking with that. If we look over to the other Haas driver, Armin still closing in. Again, I would have thought he was close enough there to make the position. But unfortunately not, as Fat Cat is going into the pits. He's going into the pits very early, as Brizen now takes 4th place. What is Fat Cat going for? Potentially for the mediums, I would assume. And those hards are just not working out for him. Yeah, those are the medium combat tires. Fat Cat Batman will now find himself coming out in 11th place now, as Maverick will pass him. Dante too, and potentially his teammate Nadim now still ghosted. Unfortunately, he hasn't joined back just yet. And Nadim now finds himself up to 13th place, 12th place, and Beb as well. So Fat Cat Batman, pitting after 8 laps off of the hards, has now opted for the mediums in this race. So it's certainly a very interesting choice by the Aston Martin driver, but I trust he's got a plan in mind. Perhaps the rain will be here soon. I do look forward for the rain to come in. Dante, as I mentioned before, he's a very quick driver. He certainly will recover quite easily from an unfortunate disconnect, as Webby now receives a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Going through the S's, Dante all over the gearbox and Maverick. Will he be the first driver to make a move down the straight with DRS? He tries to go for a move around the outside, but unfortunately is not quite close enough, as Fat Cat Batman now gets 3-second time penalty for track limits. And Dante, after the DRS straight and into the stadium section of the track, makes the move and is now up into 10th place, holding the last point scoring position in this race now. Dante weaving off to the right hand side to try and avoid a potential toe advantage to Maverick behind. Now Marco also making the position ahead of Kudos, and there was another position change behind and I didn't quite notice it. Apologies for that, there's a lot going on. Oh, Rikko now 0.3 seconds behind. There we go. Marco and Armin are fighting again. And Marco, with a brilliant move around the outside, finds himself back up into 5th place. And Armin almost pushing that Mercedes still, trying to go for a move. Those medium tires are working for Armin, but unfortunately DRS is just so effective on this track that they keep on swapping every time they get down that main straight. Armin looking for a move down the inside along that straight. Very violent move to the right and then back into the racing line on left. He tries to go for a move down the inside into the hairpin. Almost colliding with the Ferrari behind him. But now to the line, and DRS will be open very shortly for the Haas and for the Red Bull behind. And I think this is going to be another double overtake. A 2-position loss for the Mercedes driver. Armin goes round the outside, and Kudos very close behind. He's looking for a move down the inside. He's not close enough, unfortunately. But Kudos up into 7th. Oh, sorry, remaining in 7th place, as Armin now up into 5th place. Oh wait, there's 3 DRS sections. Into the second DRS section. My bad. I forgot there's a second. I forgot that straight was a DRS section. I won't lie. As now Fudge and Zolt's going too wide into the second sector. Brilliant driving by the two of them, as now Armin and Zoltz get a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And now Zoltz gets the position on Fudge. Oh, that looks like a tap between the two drivers, potentially. But certainly a very good and very clean fight between the two drivers. Thoroughly enjoyed that for McLaren and AlphaTauri. It's still not a single cloud in the sky. This dynamic weather has gone for sunny before we have the rain. I think the rain is going to come in very late in this race. We'll have to see, though. As now Armin is trying to defend from Marco behind. Marco going for a move down the inside. We're still with the inside line. Almost contact between the two drivers. And now down the last straight. Kudos trying to capitalize on their fight. Fortunately, not quite close enough to take the position just yet. All the while, teammate of Kudos, Payne's currently going through the S's, now into the third sector for the stadium section, has got himself a 6.5 second gap to his sister team, Alfa Romeo Gravy, behind on those medium tires, with Rikko hot on his tail. Those hards have come in beautifully now. 0.4 behind, he will have the DRS advantage. Drag reduction system, the rear wing will open up, reducing the drag on the car and increasing the speed, increasing it by, I think it was about 10 to 12 miles per hour, something like that. So he certainly will have an incredible advantage, and if he's using his ERS as well, he will be able to make the move. Now here comes Rikko, 0.3, 0.2 and a half, 0.2, closing in very quickly on the Alfa Romeo driver, and now going to the side, looking for a move down the inside, but unfortunately not quite close enough to make the move. This drive will go on for a very long time now, as we see, again, side by side, the Merc and the Haas and the Merc constantly fighting one another. And Kudos sitting patiently behind as they fight for scraps. Now as Rikko and Gravy going side by side into the second sector, now coming into the right-hander towards the S's. I don't know the name of the corners, I'm sorry. Gravy maintaining his position ahead, and Rikko now will have to sit for just another sector just behind the Alfa Romeo, looking at that rear wing for another half a sector, potentially another sector. We'll have to see now. Into the stadium section, Rikko is now much closer than he was before, as he now gets a 3-second time penalty, which will be detrimental to his race at the end of the session. Now coming towards the final corner and towards the line, he'll be 0.4 seconds behind. He certainly is very close now to the Alfa Romeo driver ahead of him. Will he be able to make the move? We'll have to see. Closing in very quickly. Fortunately though, I think Gravy got a much better exit and will be safe from any danger behind. Here goes Armin again on Marco. Very easy move for the Haas driver there. Just playing back and forth now. Rikko trying to go for a switchback on Gravy. Fortunately, not quite close enough to make it work. Crucially though, this fight is being an incredible help for Payne's ahead now, 8.5 seconds back, as now Kudos is going side by side with the Mercedes, the inside line into the second sector. They will still go side by side into the S's. They cannot do this. They are not. Okay, that was very risky. I thought they were going to be brave enough to do that, but then also, is that bravery or is that stupidity? That's on the line. We'll have to see. But very close battle between the three of them now, as Kudos is outside of 1 second to Armin. So Armin now has about 1.5. No, never mind. Okay. Armin now with about 3/10 clear now of DRS threat behind. But Kudos will still have to defend from Marco with 8/10 behind him. DRS Fudge also in this fight with DRS now. As Rikko and Gravy swap around and across the, around the first corner. Rikko with the DRS and the inside line takes the move from Gravy and blocks the switchback. And now Marco with the DRS will take the position from Kudos behind. Don't mind me, I need to take a moment to catch my breath and drink some water. Stay hydrated. There is a lot of battles going on. We're now approaching the halfway mark. Lap 18 will be halfway into this race. And there is still not a cloud in sight. Could the hard compound runners have the better strategy in this race? I say that. Payne's putting the fastest lap. He's got 15 lap old mediums. He is 10 seconds ahead of Rikko and puts in a 19.0. He is pushing it. Zoltz as well now in this fight for 6th place. Marco, unfortunately, outside of the 1 second, 1.5 seconds back, will not have DRS advantage to defend from the approaching drivers behind. Dante as well now in this fight, quite crucially. As I mentioned before, he disconnected and he is a very quick driver, someone to keep a keen eye on, and he is now closing in for the fight for 6th place, so he's not someone to count out for a podium finish. Certainly someone to keep an eye on, as Gravy now is still just within that 1 second region for DRS going into the S's. If he maintains this lead, maintains this gap, he will have DRS coming out of the S's, and hopefully through the stadium section he will have DRS again. Now as he drops out of the 1 second, as I say that, of course. That's not commentator's curse. Ollie and Joe, I know you're watching. It's not commentator's curse. It's just unfortunate. As Maverick now gets a second penalty for track limits. If we have a quick look at the penalties now, Maverick being the first and only driver to hit the 6 second mark for penalties, whilst Rikko, as Gravy now pits from the medium combat tyres. He must be sick of those tyres and wants fresh tyres now. I can only imagine going for the mediums. As Rikko has taken the lead of the race. What's happened to Payne's? Has gone into the pits as well. Okay. It didn't come up on my screen, or either that or I'm blind. Rikko now leads the race with a 6.5 second gap to the drivers behind him. Payne's on the fresh mediums, closing in 5.5 seconds. Marco now up into 4th place, and Kudos, teammate of Payne's, now up to 5th place on those hard compound tyres. Armin going in for the pit, coming out now on those fresh mediums. Gravy coming out in 10th place, very far back, but then again, the order for the grid in the top 13 or the top 12 are all very close together, and losing 20 seconds in the pits will certainly tumble you down the order very quickly. Fat Cat Batman, having pitted on lap 8 for those medium compound tyres, finds himself up into 9th place, still 3 seconds back from the next competitor, Dante, on those 16 old lap hards. Where is the rain? There's not a single cloud. Payne's now rapidly closing in. In just 1 lap, he's managed to close in by 1 second to the drivers ahead of him. This Kudos now pits well off of those hard compound tyres, presumably onto the mediums. Yes, he's going for the mediums. I think the rain could be so late into this race that it's just going to be a regular race. I think that's what people might be gambling on. That because of how late it is, it's not going to warrant the requirement to pit for new tyres. Though, I'm fairly certain that the game functions as it does in real life. As soon as DRS is closed, when DRS is disabled and it is raining, it is classified as a rain race, and it is not mandatory for you to pit onto a different compound, which therefore means any driver such as Payne's, Gravy, or Armin, who have opted to start on the mediums and therefore now finish on the mediums, they will not be penalised for not switching compounds. If they finish the race, DRS is disabled and it is raining. It'll be considered as a wet race, and they can finish the race on one compound of tyre. So it'll be incredibly interesting to see what happens now as we cross the line for lap 19. Paynes with a 1:18.2, an 0.8 improvement on his previous lap, and is now rapidly closing in on Brisson now ahead on those dog-old hards. 1.5 seconds back on those medium tyres. Certainly really feeling that pace now as Dante is all over the gearbox of the two drivers ahead of him. Fudge and Zoltz going 3 wide into the first corner. Dante looking for a move down the inside. Unfortunately could not make it on Zoltz, but Zoltz taking the position. Dante up in position, and Fudge now down into 7th place. Here comes Paynes now. He's half a second back on Brisson. Those fresh mediums are incredibly quick. Now going through the S section, he certainly will have a lot more grip. I think he might be the second or third driver to make a move in this last DRS straight before the before the start-finish line. Well, unfortunately, he's not close enough to make a move. Certainly will help close the gap and keep him close into the stadium section. So when he opens that rear wing on the main straight, he certainly will have the pace advantage, the tyre advantage, and the DRS advantage. Now coming out of the final corner, he is almost pushing that Williams ahead and crossing the line. His front axle is ahead of the rear axle, and kudos with a 3-second time penalty for track limits, and Paynes is now up into 2nd place with DRS. A brilliant move by the Ferrari man. Finds himself now back up into 2nd place, just 9.5 seconds ahead of Rikko, a gap he once held previously before pitting. He will also now have DRS down this straight. There's only one detection zone, which is in the stadium section, towards the end of the stadium section, which will open the DRS rear wing for the main straight and for the 2nd straight after the 1st sector. That Paynes pulls out a 2-second gap. Fudge and Fat Cat closing in very quickly. Fudge managing to keep up with Fat Cat on those fresher tyres, but still just slightly behind now as Gravy starts to close down the gap now within a second. He has that DRS advantage. Will be able to continue to close that gap down, having pitted 3 laps ago. As now Rikko is in the pits off of those hard tyres, and Paynes with another fastest lap. A 0.3 improvement, and Paynes is back into the lead of this race. And now it's just down to Brisson in the top 3 for the podium finish to pit, as now Zoltz also heads in the pits off of those hard compound tyres, having run 20 laps on those hards. That is impressive driving for the drivers there. Rikko now down in the midst of a battle between Gravy and Fat Cat. Fat Cat and Gravy. Rikko going down the inside. He's got the inside line on Gravy, but unfortunately not quite the exit he would hope for. He's got those colder tyres, and Gravy has had those tyres for 4 laps now and will have the advantage and the DRS advantage too to continue defending the position. Now this will be a huge loss for Rikko. Of course, he needs to not lose as much this much time behind any drivers ahead in the hopes to try and finish on the podium, especially with the rain coming in. As soon as rain comes in, DRS will be disabled and it'll be down to the pace of the cars. It'll be interesting to see which drivers have opted for the wet setup early in the race, or have possibly gone for dry throughout the entirety of it. Now a DRS along the final straight into the stadium section. Rikko is not close enough. What is this camera angle? Thank you very much, EA. Into the stadium section. He is now 0.2 seconds behind, and with the DRS advantage you'll have on this straight, he will surely have the position. Now as Brisson pits off those hards, and Marco and Dante have stuck out on those hard compound tyres. Now this is certainly quite interesting to see, as Fat Cat now finds himself up into 4th place. Rikko and Gravy fighting position. Rikko finds himself now ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver. Fat Cat Batman pitted quite early in this race, but he's now found himself back into the fight for the podium, but must remember he does have that 3-second time penalty. So we have now Maverick and Bev into the pits for their medium compound tyres now. We just have four drivers. No, yeah, 3 drivers as now Nadim pits off of those hards. We have Fudge on 21 lap old hards. Dante and Marco as well on those 21 lap old hards. As Dante is closing in on Marco ahead of him going through the S's. He's 0.2, 0.1 second behind the Mercedes and down this DRS straight. Will he be close enough to make a move? He looks for a move down the inside, but unfortunately he is not quite close enough to make a move. As now Rikko makes a move down the inside, on Fat Cat Batman into the stadium section. But Fat Cat Batman will have the DRS advantage, and Rikko, unfortunately, just outside of 2 seconds, will not have any DRS to help defend his position. As now Dante 1/10 behind. Very easy move. Oh, he's lagged back a bit. Still an easy move for the Red Bull driver, now up into 2nd place. Dante still on those same old hard tyres as Marco as the beginning of this race. But Rikko managed to defend from Fat Cat. I mean, I was wrong there. I thought Fat Cat had this with the DRS, as he gets another 3-second time penalty in this race. Let me remind you all now as we go into the S's section. Whilst the Drivers' Championship may have finished last race, with Rikko taking the lead by nearly 31 points, if I recall correctly, last week, over the driver in 2nd place. Apologies, I don't know who that is. There is still the constructors on the line. Haas, currently, I need to do this quickly because we're going to have more overtakes into this straight. Haas currently in the lead with 12 points ahead of Williams, and Williams ahead of Ferrari by 5 points. So still 3 teams are in contention to win the championship, and at the moment Ferrari are certainly looking quite strong with a 25 points currently in the lead of this race. As now Fat Cat has decided to pit off those mediums onto fresh mediums. This was surely and he's got front wing damage. Something has happened at the front of the grid between a fight between Rikko and Fat Cat for Fat Cat now to pit for a fresh wing after damage in a fight potentially. But now Rikko 0.7 seconds behind Dante, who still is yet to pit in this race on those very old hard compound tyres. Payne's with a 14-second gap behind him. Gravy also closing in. Gravy currently in 5th place, in a prime position to take 3rd place once the 2 drivers ahead of him on very old hard compound tyres still have to pit once more if it doesn't rain. We're now into the final third, the final part of this race, and there is still not a cloud in sight. What is going on as Rikko is now 0.2 seconds behind Dante? He will have a major advantage over Dante now coming down this main straight. DRS, tyre advantage, potentially ERS. You see him using it momentarily now as Dante tries to weave to the right and defend his position, but there is nothing he can do. Rikko with DRS will move to the inside now and takes the position from Dante. Rikko into 2nd place. And Gravy very close behind, taking the position from Marco. Now only has Dante to clear ahead of him before he has a 3rd place in his sights. Sorry, in his hands. Grasp. That's the word I'm thinking of. Brizzen fighting with Kudos here for 8th place. Very close battle between the 2 of them. Brizzen having pitted only 3 laps ago. Kudos 7 laps ago. Kudos will have the DRS and he's trying to make a move around the outside on Armin ahead of him. And he makes the move very close between the 2 teams, keeping plenty of space for each other. But Kudos with the inside line currently continues to maintain his position ahead of him. But I think Armin now, he's got a better exit and he's got the inside line into the S's. Now Armin maintains 7th place and Kudos is up into 8th place. Very good move by Kudos, but unfortunately could not quite make the double overtake there. Gravy now rounding the final corner again. Lap 26 of 36, 10 laps to go, and Gravy will have DRS on Dante ahead of him. Those old tyres are not doing him any favours now, as Gravy is closing in 3/10. 4 tenths, 3 tenths, 2.5 tenths, 2 tenths. Is he close enough? He goes for a move down the inside into the braking zone, and he got the position, but Dante's fighting back. He's got the inside line. Dante back up into 3rd place. Oh my god, I can't catch up. Gravy is now defending from Marcos. Marcos who have DRS behind him, but Gravy with DRS as well from Dante ahead of him, be able to defend the position. Unfortunately, Gravy, this lap around, will not be able to take the position and take 3rd place. Dante needs 4 points for 2nd place in the constructors. So Dante crucially needs to score as many points as possible. Who's in 3rd place, Fushy? Who is he fighting for? Fighting against for 3rd place, or for 2nd place? Sorry. Oh, I love the S's section. It gives me a break to be able to catch my breath. Shanae. Okay, so yeah, Dante only needs to score 2 points, which he's in the prime position to be able to score those 2 points and to walk away with that. As we have a yellow flag at the back there, unfortunately for Maverick, I believe. Gravy again, lap 27 of 36. You'll have DRS again, 4 tenths back. Gone for the outside now of the track. Marco closing in. Gravy has got DRS. He's definitely got the pace now to make the move and now into the braking zone. Gravy is ahead. Dante trying to go for a switchback. Maverick with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And now Gravy is into 3rd place. What a brilliant move. It took him a whole lap to wait patiently behind Dante. Dante is still fighting back though. But Gravy has waited patiently for this move to work. And he has made it work. And he's now taking the position as Brizin now takes the position ahead of Kudos into that first few corners now. Kudos will have DRS down this back straight, but unfortunately will not be close enough just yet to make a move and take 8th place. Dante still keeping very close to Gravy ahead of him, now going through the S's. Those old hards, 3 drivers on the old hards. Dante, Marco, and Fudge all quite close together, all within 10 seconds of each other to Gravy ahead of him in 3rd place. They have still not pitted, and there is still no rain. Where is the rain? Dante will have DRS down this main straight and will have certainly taken the position back from Gravy. I say that, but... Oh, no, yeah, I was correct. Yeah, no, Dante's got the position. The DRS is a huge advantage down this main straight as it adds an additional 8 to 10 kilometers per hour. I'll probably change the numbers now. Call it about 10 kilometers per hour advantage with DRS open. And he will have it again down the straight, defending his position from Gravy. As we have Kudos now down that main straight, fighting and switching the positions with Brizin for 8th place. It is now a matter of time for the rain, as I can now see a lot of clouds coming in. It's about damn time for those clouds to come in. Going through the 2nd sector now towards the S's. Gravy is still in 4th place, and Marco is so close in this fight as Webby now receives another 3-second time penalty for track limits, unfortunately. Oh my god. Gravy very close behind going into the stadium section now. With Marco all over his gearbox. He's in a sandwich of very old hard compound tires. It is very cloudy now. It must be raining very soon now. Gravy will have DRS. Marco will have DRS. Dante goes to the inside there. But will he be able to defend? He makes one move to the outside, one move to the inside. There goes Gravy with the DRS. And there it is, all of the clouds. There must be rain soon. Now Gravy, 3 wide into the first corner. Almost colliding between all of them. Gravy losing out a position now. Marco up into 4th place and Dante defending beautifully into that first corner. Still up into 3rd place. Gravy down into 5th place now. Is it now where the rain comes into the last 6 laps of the race, and those drivers, the 3 drivers who are still yet to pit in this race, might have an advantage because they've not pitted once in this race. Payne still with a 14.5-second lead to Rikko behind him, and Rikko with a 9-second lead to Dante behind him. A very close battle here for the 3rd place, the last step of the podium, as now Webby jumps into the pits. Webby, is he going for the inters very early? I mean, the the DRS has not been disabled yet, but certainly is the stage where you would expect the rain to come in. Hopefully, he'll be able to make up a few positions with drivers potentially getting the strategy wrong ahead of him, and he will still find himself finishing in the points now as Gravy makes the move on Marco. Marco's now pitting. Marco's going for the inters now, surely. No, Marco's gone for the mediums now. Could this be a strategy error by the Mercedes driver? Going for the medium compound tyre when we are still predicted for some rain at the end of this race is now Fudge is 0.2 seconds behind. Oh, wait, no. Armin has gone through. Sorry, Fudge is 0.2 seconds behind Armin. Armin who's just managed to take the position. There goes, my game is frozen. The rain is here. Please tell me the game unfreezes. I've changed all my graphical settings for this. Please, I beg you. Work. Thank you. The rain is here. And the race order has changed? No, it hasn't. Maybe it has. No, it hasn't. But the rain is finally here with 6 laps to go. There is now a 20-second... Wait, why is there a 20-second gap? Okay, my timing sheet is completely messed up. This is not accurate. We'll have to wait for them to get across the line. That can't be a 20-second gap. Mav's coming out of the pits. He's on the inters. There is rain. I can see the rain. But the timing screen is not updating just yet. Maverick's the only one with a live time. Please give me the live timings. It's raining now. Oh, this game is terrible, honestly. Can I get a refund? Now we got timings. Okay, there we go. Dante, Gravy now into the pits, going in for those soft... As now Gravy gets a 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Dante into the pits. What has happened here? As now Gravy has 5 seconds onto his race time at the end of this race. DRS is now disabled. It's officially a wet race. And now Paynes is 14.5 seconds ahead. He has to pit now for those inters. Those mediums are not going to do him any good. He's got about 32-second gap behind him to third place. As Armin now takes third place. The last step of the podium. Dante, they're first of the runners to dive into the pits, but a severe collision from Gravy and Dante gave Gravy a 5-second time penalty. Now, this could have caused damage to the rear wing of Dante. We will not know this. We will not know this till the end of the race when we have interviews, if we have an interview with Dante, because the game will not show us these graphics. Paynes is now in the pits. Rikko must be going in the pits now. There's no chance he sticks out. Rikko into the pits. Rikko with a set 3-second time penalty, unfortunately for crossing the white line there, into the pits. And now Armin is closing in. He is 16 seconds behind, and there should be more than enough time between the two Haases to avoid Armin from losing any time in this double stack in the pits now. Now coming towards the pits, we got Brisen who should be entering the pits. Doesn't seem logical to stay out. There we go. Brisen into the pits. Fat Cat Batman also diving into the pits. And Marco, the last driver. Second to last driver. Marco's not going into the pits. Marco is staying out on those medium compound tires in this race when it's raining and DRS is. I'm so confused. You do you. Dante is closing in. Dante, I think, has had a brilliant strategy. Marco is a very brave man indeed. But Dante has had a brilliant strategy. He's taken those hard compound tires all the way to the end of the race to wait for those inters. And now finds himself in a prime position for third place. Nadim as well. He's still yet to pit. Nadim has just joined the game, unfortunately. His car is going through the stadium section. And is probably about to... what's happened here? Marco has lost traction, unfortunately. Those mediums are not doing him any favors. He should have pitted. And Nadim's AI is pitting. There we go. Alright, so Marco's the only brave man, brave soul to be out there in the slicks in this rain. Gravy, whilst he may still have those 8-second time penalties, he's still fighting Armin ahead of him. He needs to clear 2 seconds at Armin ahead of him. Behind him, in order to maintain this position, because Armin will still have those 6-second time penalties to serve at the end of the race. Only time penalties accumulate, totaling 5 and 10 seconds, not 3-second time penalties, up to 5 and 10, but a total of 5 in 1 penalty, or a total in 10 in 1 penalty, can be served in the pits. As now Marco receives a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Is Marco still out? Marco's trying to get to the pits. He is a very brave man for sticking out that lap on those mediums. As now Nadim has unfortunately left the session. Have a quick gander. I think I know who it is. It is Paynes with a 1:17.927. Paynes with the fastest lap, currently leading this race. And now Fakat Batman has also pitted. Fakat Batman serving a time penalty, possibly. I don't know. He was stationary there for a bit. We'll have to see. But now, unlike Tier 2, the rain came in at lap 10 for Tier 2. The rain now came in at lap 33. Oh, sorry, 33? No. 30. Lap 30 for Tier 1. So very late. But an incredible strategy so far by Dante. I did not think that would work, and he made it work. Oh, give me the positions. Armin up by 10 positions? Armin qualifying 14th is now up into 4th place and is fighting for 3rd place. I mean, he still has the 6-second time penalty to be cleared, but at least on track, he can say he climbed 11 positions to finish on the provisional podium before penalties. Rikko with the 6 seconds as well, so Dante only needs to climb by 6 seconds in the last 2 laps if he can, by some miracle, to grab himself that 2nd place, as we have a yellow flag. With a yellow flag, Paynes has had a moment through the S's. Paynes has had a moment and has found himself spun round. I have to see now as the timing screens are updating. Rikko is now 7.5 seconds behind Paynes, as he now approaches the line for starting the 35th lap of the race, the penultimate lap of... Yeah, the penultimate lap of this race. As now, Fakat Batman, unfortunately, had another spinner. Webby now up into 13th place. Very unfortunate race for Webby after losing out the championship in Tier 2 because of EA's disconnection problems. But still a very brave man to be able to come out into Tier 1 and race. Kudos to him. Now Armin all over the gearbox of Dante ahead of him. Dante makes a move to the right to try and defend. Armin now going even further down the inside. He's got the pace. He must be using ERS. He's not. He's out of ERS. He's got the inside line and into the first corner. Armin has 3rd place at the moment as Dante, as they collide. The 2 drivers have collided and bumped wheels. And it's certainly something for the stewards to review after the race. Or potentially to review after the race. But a very decently clean fight between the 2 of them. And now as we go with Paynes going through the stadium section. Under the stadium, under the advertising board, and around the final corner towards the line. He will now start the final lap of this race. Paynes recently signed for a Tier 2 driver with Ferrari, and at Silverstone was immediately swapped into Tier 1 and has had a brilliant race so far now, as Fudge receives a 3-second time penalty for track limits, and Armin are battling with Dante still. Armin with the outside line, but Dante with a better... No, Armin with a better exit. Coming down that main straight now. Dante using everything he's got. Dante's completely empty in the tank. But Dante with the inside line will be able to fight back. Armin with the inside line for the approaching next few corners will maintain his position. Going very wide though, but still ahead of the Red Bull driver. Of course, Armin still with those 6-second time penalty, will find himself demoted down into 4th place again, but at least on track, he will have that track victory to say, I took that position from you. It's a Haas, provisional Haas 2-3, but unfortunately, Rikko with the 6-second time penalty will not be able to take 1st place even if he got ahead of Paynes. Now as we go on board with Paynes going through the final corner, Paynes has coped brilliantly through this race. He went for a medium inter strategy and it has worked brilliantly in his favour. He now crosses the line and Paynes wins the race. What a race for the Ferrari man. He finishes the race with a superb strategy and the fastest lap in hand to maximum points for the team. And that is 26 points for Ferrari. Haas coming in with a provisional 2-3 as Darman comes spinning across the track in superb fashion. But unfortunately gets demoted down to 4th place after points. Gravy across the line now, serving those time penalties and managing to just barely keep ahead. Let's see if Kudos crosses the line now. He will unfortunately lose the position to Brizin, but Kudos still a brilliant race by him. Last race for Ferrari, last race with Phoenix. Now as he moves on, it has been a brilliant season, a brilliant 2 seasons to Kudos, if I do say so myself, as the Ferrari team principal, and I could not be proud. I couldn't be prouder than this moment now, with a Ferrari driver finishing on pole. Sorry, in 1st place with the fastest lap and finishing in 7th place with still a strong number of points, potentially topping Williams for the constructors. But I think Haas, with that 2-4, I think Haas has scored the most number of points for that 12 points difference to Williams behind, and that 17 points difference to the Ferrari behind. I think Haas have won the constructors as well as the drivers. I am out of breath, man. You guys are fighting far too often. Please give me a break to breathe. But it was still an incredible race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I hope you all did. We certainly will have some interviews, without a doubt. I would love to have an interview with our champion, Rikko, and our race winner, Payne's Dead. And Dante. Incredible race by everyone. It was... I am stuck for words. Honestly, that was incredible. I am looping in a loop right now with words because I don't know what to say. Oh my god. Ah. That is incredible. Right, let's see. Who have we got for interviews? Fortunately, Paynes has not yet joined. Let's see if we can drag him in here. Oops, my bad. There we go, into the waiting room. Now, let's get on with the interviews. Let's actually go from bottom to top. Let's lead up to our race winner, as my game will now refuse to let me to tap out. Work. I beg you. There we go. Now, let's go from the bottom up. Now, we have ourselves Dante. Dante, welcome to the commentator's box. That was an incredible race. You qualified 7th. You went for hards. You disconnected from the race. You fell so far back and climbed all the way back up to 3rd place. How was that race for you?
The race was pretty good. Not so good beginning because I think I start was at like lap 5 or 6, something like that, because I disconnect. But overall, I kind of liked it. I just did the same strategy because I just saw Marco was an odd. I was like, I'm going to wait for for the rain to change my tire. So, and it paid off. That was nice.
It clearly did pay off. I mean, you were, what was it, 27 old lap or 28 old lap hards before you pitted on those inters. You must have been losing a lot of grip. How close were you to a puncture there?
Not so much, because I think my tire was at for 51 or something. I don't remember, 50 or something, not even 60. So I think it was pretty good. I could have kept going on with them, seriously. But yeah, my tire was pretty good.
That is some impressive driving, if I do say so myself. It was certainly a lot of fun to see you climb the ranks. You were on fire. That Red Bull was definitely a rocket ship for
Yeah,
today.
yeah, of course. Seriously, I cannot like the race. That was a nice one. I got a pretty decent pace. On those all tire. Seriously, I didn't even practice a lot, but yeah, that was pretty nice. I kind of like that. And I'm happy to be vice champion. I'm happy for Mr. Prickle. He got a well-deserved champion title in T1. Up to race with him next season in World Bowl. And I don't know who's the third guy is shiny, but he's going to retire. That's too bad. But I'm really happy. And what I can say is that I hope for the next season. Too bad we're not going to start in F1 23, but I just want to battle against those fast driver for the next season. And sorry, I'm French, so sorry for me.
Absolutely no worries. Honestly, that was a lot of fun. Thank you for a very exciting race. And I'm sure you're looking forward to having a week off, perhaps get back into the groove of racing now. You're looking forward to the season opener? Have you seen the calendar for next season?
Yeah, I already see the calendar. Then the first race is going to be in Baku, and Baku is my favorite track. So yeah, that's going to be awesome. I think.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear
That's
it.
going to be
Well,
awesome.
that was a lot of fun. I could barely breathe in the commentating for that race. So thank you for that. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to seeing you next season for season 5 at Baku.
Yeah, thank you too. Well, good job for the commentary and good job to the Phoenix admin to make a great community. So see you next season, guys, and thank you.
Thank you. Now let's get our second place winner in here, and our champion, Rikko.
Hello, hello.
First of all, congratulations on winning the championship last season.
Thank you.
Last race, sorry, my bad. How was that race for you?
Pretty good, just average. Nothing.
Just average.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pains.
Go on.
Pains is too fast. And
Well,
had a really good strategy.
Well, it was certainly a lot of fun to watch it. You were constantly fighting as you went through the grid. The rain came in very late. Was that something you were expecting? Were you hoping for it to come sooner? Would that have helped with your strategy had it come sooner?
I was hoping it won't come.
Fair enough.
I thought it will come like 2 laps to the end of the race and I can finish it on the ice.
I think a few people thought that as well. Well, that was certainly a lot of fun, and congrats again on winning the championship last race. I mean, it's certainly well deserved. Unfortunately, Shanae will no longer be racing F1, but I with Payne's now racing in Tier 1, I think you're going to have a few competitors now for the championship next season.
Yeah, and Kos.
And Cos, of course. Can't forget Cos. Are you looking forward to next season? Have you seen the calendar for next season?
Yeah, I like it.
Do you think Baku's a strong track? You think you can start the season off with a race victory?
Maybe, possibly.
Maybe. All right, I like that. I like that cautious approach. Well, thank you for joining me in the commentators box. Thank you for a thrilling race, and I look forward to chatting to you in the next season.
Yeah, thank you.
And now let's get our race winner in here, Paynes. What a race! What a drive for you! How was that race for you, mate?
It was actually it was finally got a win, so happy with that. It was challenging, especially towards the end there with the rain. You guys probably saw that I spun, but luckily I'd built a big enough gap to maintain the win.
And you were on fire. You went for the medium strategy. That clearly worked for you really well at the start of the race. You then pitted for the second mediums with the rain coming in really late. And then you pitted right on time with the fastest lap as well for those inters. And then you were 14.5 seconds clear. It must have been quite a calm, quite quiet race for you towards the end there.
Yeah, that long straight is especially when you're in the lead, you start thinking about stuff and getting distracted and start to make mistakes into turn one. But yeah, the strategy worked perfectly. The Ferrari team told me to do the medium to medium, and then it'll start raining, and it paid off. Normally I gamble my strategy and it never works. Luckily today it worked like a treat.
Brilliant. I did have another question, but honestly I've completely forgotten it now. I'll move to the next one. Have you seen, I'm guessing you've seen the calendar for next season. Do you think you're looking forward to that season? Do you think you've got a few strong tracks there?
I have a few strong tracks, but personally I don't like it. There's a lot of tracks that I don't like, but then some that like the Spanish, the British one, and Belgium. I like those. So I have a strong team next season as well, me and Cos. So hopefully we can get the constructors next season.
Well, as a commentator, I thank you for a very thrilling race, and as a team principal, congratulations on the race win with the fastest lap, 26 points in the bag. I'm sure that secures us, I believe, second place in the constructors, which is still a very strong end to season 4, and I do certainly look forward to having you and Cos race in Tier 1 next season. So thank you for a very exciting race.
Thanks for
I'll
having
see
me.
you next season in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now we've got a few special interviews now. This is the final race of the season before we go on for a 2-week break before we start season 5. We will have some off-season events. So let's have the special interviews before we get on with the last few bits. Armin, I mean, first of all, that was an incredible race by you. You went from 14th place, practically last on the grid, and you almost finished on track for 3rd place. How was that race for you?
Yeah, man, it was very hard. I was pressured at the start of the race as I got information that we were fighting for constructors for P1. And when I did qualifying, when I saw it was P14, I was just panicking, getting a panic attack. But luckily, most of the grid went for the hard strategy, where I found out with fellow drivers that mediums was the better call. So luckily I had the better strategy, and I just climbed up the grid, had an amazing turn 1, made up a couple of positions, and then in the middle of the race I was fighting with Marco and Maverick and Kudos. So I went for the undercut for another set of mediums, and I kinda got another panic attack because I was back at P14, but luckily when the other drivers picked, I was P5. And then the rain slowly came in, so I stayed out another 2 laps when the first drops came out, and luckily I gained some time. But I was in the fight with Dante for a podium, but sadly I had a time penalty.
Yeah, you
So,
seem to go spinning across the line there at the end of the race. What happened there?
It's just my iconic move. I have to
Of
at least
course.
bottle somewhere.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well, I'm sure Haas are very proud of you for helping them secure themselves the Haas Constructors and the Drivers' Championship, where Rikko lost the race last time out at Koto. So congratulations with the 4th place. Congratulations with an incredible drive. Honestly, you were fighting constantly. It was you, Marco, and Kudos fighting back and forth. It was a lot of fun to watch. And certainly quite literally took my breath away. I could barely breathe having to commentate between all of you fighting one another.
Yeah, also at the end I was fighting with Dante and we touched like 4 or 5 times.
I did see
yeah.
that. I did see a few moments of contact between the two of you.
I was also hoping when I saw on the map when Pain spun, I was hoping he'd DNF so I get the podium.
No. No,
I wanted
unfortunately.
it to be my first podium in Phoenix. It would have been a legendary story.
I'm sure you'll have it with your Bosnian bro as your teammate in Tier 2 next season.
Yeah, I'm really waiting and excited for next season. I'm hoping for a championship fight.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for an incredible race. It was a lot of fun to watch. One last question before you go. for the calendar next season, we've got Azerbaijan as the season opener. Are you looking forward to that track, or are you terrified for the walls of that track?
I am not terrified, as Baku is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar.
So many people love Baku. Webby loves it. Dante loves it.
No. I love to race on it, but I don't like watching it because it's just boring.
That's fair enough. Well,
I
thank you.
like racing on it because a lot of people crash, and I like street tracks like Monaco and that were my favorite tracks. For some reason, I just never hit the wall.
Are you going to be the new Checo Perez and win the street circuits?
Yes, that's how I'm hoping to win the championship. I'm hoping for a lot of street tracks.
I certainly look forward to it. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for an extremely thrilling race. And I look forward to seeing you fight it out with Nadim, who's going to be driver 1, who's going to be driver 2 next season. It certainly will be quite interesting to watch.
Of course, we don't prioritize drivers who finish ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's just to tell the press, we're teammates, but behind curtains, there's a rivalry brewing.
Yeah, we actually hate each other.
Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you again for a very thrilling race.
Thank you.
And now, to close it off, let's speak to Webby. Webby, it's a very... first of all, how are you doing?
Mate, I just put my screen to the side and watched the stream at the back. I was enjoying myself. I thought, well, I spun. I was halfway through a yawn because I was just like annoyed. And then I spun into the wall and I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to chill.
Oh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't quite get an interview with you last round for Tier 2. How was Tier 2? I know, obviously, you had your disconnect problems. What happened at the very end? Because you went from having, like, 3 seconds of penalties to 11.
What, the tier 2?
Tier 2, yeah.
So, I said I had the weird, like, lagging and all that.
Yeah.
So I was lagging, and then it was dropping me back by a few tenths every time. But it only happened, like, once a lap, or once every 2 laps. It was quite weird. And then, what happened? So I kept on having no grip and grip. And then, like, the last 4 laps, my connection was fine. So I was like, I had grip, and I was fighting, as you probably saw. And then, suddenly, out of nowhere, in the braking zone, I had it went to, like, no connection. I had no grip. I was about to plow into the guy in front of me, so I had to pull off to the side, at which I went off the track. I literally went straight. I didn't even go over the corner, and it gave me 10-second penalty. It gave me 2 5-second penalties. It wasn't even a 10-second.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened there.
So it was a bit odd. But yeah, I enjoyed the race so much. Was really happy.
How was Tier 1?
Do you know what? I felt comfortable. But then again, it was just like I disconnected out of the qualifying 3 times. Didn't disconnect from the race, but then in the race, I just kept on getting like lag spikes and just like not disconnect, but like the connection issue again. So I kept on having like really bad understeer, and then I forgot because in tier 2 I changed from medium traction in the rain, and I forgot that I was used to medium traction, and I went out one of the corners in gear 3, and then obviously you can't do that with no traction. And then I spun into a wall, lost my wing, and then that was like right at the start of the lap as well, so I lost so much time with that. And then I pitted, and then I had to go on hards, but the hards were just awful race pace, awful.
Yeah, I was wondering why you went for the hards, even though you had plenty of intel that the hards are a horrible tyre.
Yeah, but I just felt like, well, if there's any like chance of people spinning or DNFing, which no one did, which was a joke. The one time that I'm at the back and I need someone to do it, and no one's DNFing.
Well, no, Payne's certainly had a spin, but fortunately managed to keep it out of the wall. He spun through the S's.
Oh yeah, that was right in front of me.
Yeah.
He just lapped me. And then, yeah.
The curse of lapping you get spun round.
Yeah, I felt comfortable in tier 1, to be fair. Like, do you know what's the joke as well? I disconnected out of qualifying, right? I disconnected going out the last corner, and as I disconnected, obviously I go in a different game, as you probably know, and I crossed the line and I did a low 16.1, which would have put me like P3 or 4.
Yeah.
but because I disconnected, it doesn't count. So I then reconnected. I was in the pits, and apparently I hadn't even used my tire. I was like, what?
Oh, wonderful.
So I had to, and then it disconnected again whilst I was up on one of my times, and then on one of my qualies. Oh yeah, you probably saw that. You were like, oh, I think I was watching the stream as well, and you were like, oh, I don't think he's gonna make it. I cut the whole track like mad. Crossed the line with 3 seconds to go. Checked my tires, and they were on like 80, 81. So I had 0 grip going into that last qualifying lap,
Oh no.
which
Well,
is annoying.
At least
I
you
had
were
pace.
kind of calm and had a bit of fun.
Yeah, well, I thought it's a race that I just wanted to test my pace, and I feel like I've definitely got like top 7 pace in my opinion, maybe top 5 at times depending on the track, but I felt like I had pace out there. The qualifying in P1, probably because I was more relaxed, because it just didn't matter to me. I was much better, where I was a bit more tense in T2, so I just went off a little bit. I kept on screwing up my lines. I didn't put a single good quali lap in T2. And I still
Well,
got a 16.3, and that was the scary part.
at least you had fun. That's the main bit.
Yeah, I thought, well, if we can somehow overtake Aston Martin, I'll have a look. But obviously, I screwed up, and then we were out of contention. I was probably going to be up there with Gravy because, yeah, I felt like I was the same pace as Gravy. So me and Gravy were like together for like the first couple of laps, and then yeah, I got bored and put it in the wall.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for joining me for an interview now.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you race in Tier 2 for Baku in 2 weeks' time for Season 5.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a little bit more of Tier 1s and stuff like that, because now I've learned no traction. That's the other thing. I've had to learn from medium traction, which I've done for about 6 months since I've started racing, and going to no traction, because it was the only way I felt like I could even qualify close to Panos, was just to learn that no traction. But, I mean, it's so different. Just racing no traction to medium traction it's like racing a different game.
It really
So
is.
I pretty much just, that was what my test was for Tier 1, was just see what my pace is like with that. And I felt comfortable, but obviously it just wasn't good enough. But yeah, annoyed really, but this is what happens with online games, is issues. So
Classic
yeah.
EA.
Classic. Yeah, it was weird. It's just this track. I tested it on a different track. I was fine. I tested it on Bahrain and Saudi, and I had no connection issues. But as soon as I went into Mexico, it was connection issues all over. So it wasn't even like an internet problem. It was just a game problem. So,
Yeah, I know a few people have been having problems with particular games. It's very odd. But yeah.
It was a bit like Nadim at Monaco, I guess. His Monaco just kept on bugging out. So yeah, I'm glad it's not on the calendar next season, sorry. So I don't have to worry about it. But it's annoying because it's one of my best tracks.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't do anything about it. So,
Hopefully it'll be fixed with the new game. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I want to say thanks to Pains as well for putting up with my bad mood for about an hour and a half.
He is a good sport with
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I apologized to him and I said, look, you've actually been massive help to me, but nothing I could do. He was giving me great information. He was calm, cool, collected, but I just couldn't. Obviously, the game wouldn't allow me to do anything. But yeah, so thank you for hosting and everything.
Thank you for joining for the interview, and I look forward to chatting with you soon.
Yes. See you next season.
Ciao.
Ciao.
And that will be it for Season 4. Oh my god, I could barely catch a breath there in all of that fighting. I hope you all enjoyed. I certainly did. The stream, I will put the stream live onto Twitch. You guys are welcome to rewatch it there. And then I will upload it onto YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. Probably one or the other. And it will be live on YouTube for you all to watch. Thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone in Tier 1 when you watch back this for a very thrilling race. I am going to go grab some dinner now. I will speak to you guys in a bit.